have a tornado heading in your direction? Probably not, but big storms are important to us. That's why the weather is the most important part of the news broadcast. Commuting to work? The weather may change the amount of time you'll need. Outdoor sports on your agenda? Need to cut the lawn tomorrow? Want to take a walk or plan an outdoor barbecue with friends? You get the idea. The weather's important.
I'm just a kid, but during the winter, I want to know if I'll have a snow day, so that I can skip doing my homework.
Hello, I'm Dave Rutzloff, and our topic for today is weather. Thanks for listening. So, are your kids hoping for that snow day? Hey, maybe it's summer and you're planning that golf outing with your buddies. Yeah, maybe not a good idea, unless you're hoping that a lightning bolt will give you some extra power on your drive. Want to head down to Florida for some time on the beach? I suppose being aware of hurricane season is probably a good idea. Even if you're a University of Miami fan, you're still going to want to stay away from those hurricanes.
Make sure you'll never.
The group Little Big Town can sing about tornadoes all they want, but hey, we don't want to find ourselves stuck in the path of a storm like that. Our topic for today is weather. Weather, no pun intended. It is sunny, drizzling, or a major storm. It affects us. Let's hope we learn something about fronts and different weather systems. Enjoy the lesson. I hope you liked my little podcast introduction there. Hi, my name is Dave, and my goal today is to introduce you to some different weather patterns. So what do you think would cause this type of destruction? Or take a look at a scene like this with all the wind and water causing problems. Totally different kind of system involved here. This picture is a little hard to see, but the top is a before photo and the bottom is a photo taken after a storm hit. Can you notice that several buildings are totally wiped out along the shoreline? The type of storm and its location can cause different conditions or various amounts of destruction. To better understand, let's take a look at a typical weather map that we might see on an Notice that we have high pressure areas marked with blue H's. Those are air masses that cause sunny, dry weather. But when other masses with temperature differences or humidity differences move in, a front is formed, usually where a high and low pressure system meet each other. This is when storms can form. Here's a similar map which shows high pressure air masses, low pressure air masses, and actually the 4 different types of fronts that can form. At the top left, you can see a cold front with all blue lines. At the top center is a stationary front that has blue and red areas being mixed together. In the direct center is a small patch of purple, which indicates an occluded front. And in the center of the country, heading towards the east coast, is a warm front shown in red. The fronts are named after the type of air mass which is moving in. Here's a cold air mass moving in and pushing warm air out of the way, so we have a cold front. Cold air stays close to the ground and warm air rises. As the warm air is pushed up and quickly cools, the moisture in the air condenses and forms clouds. This can cause thunderstorms and high winds, storms that could cause quite a bit of damage, even tornadoes. This here would be a warm front as warm air pushes into a cold air mass. When warm front moves in, the cold air prefers to stay down on the ground level. Clouds and rain will form, but violent storms are much less likely. Showers and drizzly, depressing days are more likely to form with a warm front. An occluded front, always shown in purple, is less likely to form compared to other fronts. Notice how cold and warm air are intermingled? That's not always a good combination. From this diagram, you can see that cold air is pushed away by even colder air, all while warm, moist air is sandwiched in between. This causes a wide variety of weather conditions, from mild winds and little precipitation to devastating storms, even tornadoes. And then we have the weakest of all the fronts. It's shown with red and blue lines because it's a mixture of cold and warm fronts. Neither the cold or warm air masses have a strong impact, so even though a front forms, it just sort of sits there and doesn't really do anything impressive. This would probably create several days of rainy or snowy weather, but no big storms. If you are vacationing or camping in an area that has a stationary front, good luck, because you're going to have some miserable days where you won't be able to do much outside. Stationary fronts are just kind of long, drawn-out things without much excitement at all. Now that you've gotten a little idea of the differences between the four major fronts, let's take a look at an explanation of weather patterns from some actual meteorologists or people who study the weather. This clip's a little outdated, as you'll notice by the glasses, hair, clothing of the people in the video, but the information is still good. Let's watch.
Light segment with our national map, which depicts current weather. We use a relief map of the United States with mountains, valleys, lakes, rivers, and plains. We show the topography because it often plays a role in why certain weather occurs in certain locations. The most basic information on our national map is the location of centers of high and low atmospheric pressure. A high indicated by a blue capital letter H usually means fair weather and light winds. Low pressure areas noted by a red capital L usually have rising air, cloudiness, and very often precipitation. Isobars, or lines of equal barometric pressure, are shown by thin white lines. Isobars give us clues to the strength of weather systems and the direction of low-level winds. The boundaries between different air masses are called fronts. Fronts indicate a contrast in temperature, humidity, and very often wind direction. A cold front is shown as a blue line with blue spikes. These spikes are pointed in the direction the cold front is moving. A warm front is shown in red with red bumps, also in the direction the front is moving. Occluded fronts are shown by a purple line with alternating purple bumps and spikes. The final type of front is a stationary front, which marks the boundary between warm and cold air nearly in balance. This front appears as alternating red and blue segments with the bumps and spikes pointing in opposite directions. When a front is developing or weakening, we often depict it as a trough. A trough is a zone of low atmospheric pressure and often marks a shift in wind direction and/or speed. Troughs are shown on our national map as a gray dashed line. So there you have it, high and low pressure, isobars, warm, cold, occluded, and stationary fronts, and troughs. Precipitation areas are shaded green for rain, gray for snow, and blue for freezing rain or sleet. Areas of fog, haze, or smoke are indicated by yellow shading. The following are the standard weather symbols for precipitation.
So depending upon the type of front, the temperature involved, and the amount of moisture in the air, fronts can create some pretty impressive results. It's good to have some understanding of weather patterns so that you can better plan your outdoor activities, but primarily you want to know when severe weather may strike. That knowledge could be the difference between life and death. So next time you head out, check the weather and have a little more understanding of what's happening so you can enjoy your day and stay safe.
You change.